So we've recently published some research on the global off-highway vehicle market, and there are a few different reasons why the industry is starting to transition towards electrification. First, there's a growing number of low and zero emission zones in cities, and obviously construction equipment gets used a lot in cities, and so there's a need there to improve air quality, make the machines electric, and we're actually starting to see some large construction projects and cities actually specify zero emission equipment in their tenders. Second, there's actually a cost benefit now, so the technology's moved to a point where it actually makes some of the vehicles competitive price-wise versus their diesel counterparts. And then there's also a complexity issue, so a lot of current diesel engines need a lot of after treatment, and that gets increasingly complex and expensive to meet the emission goals, and actually it's a lot easier to just go to an electric solution from this point forwards. So we're actually seeing that the competitive market, the competitive landscape at the moment is really dynamic in off-highway. So we've seen companies like Cummins, Dana and Danfoss make big acquisitions over the last 18 months to 2 years to really improve their product portfolio with regards to electrification. And it's really kind of changing those companies that are active in the supply base, and it's meaning that sort of traditional legacy suppliers are not so much being left behind, but are now starting to look about where they're going to develop their technology and capabilities. One of the big questions in our research, is electrification going to happen for all sort of vehicles? And certainly for small vehicles and those vehicles where the duty cycle is not particularly intense, it makes a lot of sense to move to electric now. You know, the battery capacity can kind of cope with it, and you get a decent amount of kind of daily use out of the vehicle. Obviously, one of the bigger challenges is for larger machinery, but what you have there is a situation where a large machine might be needed to be used in a sort of low emission zone, and what do you do? And actually, that's where we see potentially hydrogen as being a possible solution. And we've seen some companies trialing hydrogen technology on construction equipment, and we also know that from the on-highway market, there are some manufacturers developing fuel cell trucks, and we sort of expect to see that technology migrate into the off-highway market. We've just published a report on the global off-highway market. It splits into two parts. The first part is a fairly detailed, granular overview of vehicle sales by country and by application type, so looking at things like excavators, wheel loaders, aerial work platforms and forklift trucks. And then the second part of the study looks at the trend towards electrification. So we look at how sort of current diesel technology will develop, but then we start to look at things like hybridization, battery electric solutions, fuel cell, so using hydrogen, and also tethered equipment as well. And we've developed a pretty rigorous methodology looking at things like low emission, battery pricing, total cost of ownership, and we've developed that into a forecast to help us identify the sort of rate and penetration of electrification out to 2028.